Hello and welcome, my friends, to FF Lifestyle. This is going to be another vehicle review, and in today's vehicle review we are taking a look at my beloved third gen 4Runner that I have named Greenie here on the channel. I'm kind of extra excited about Greenie right now because I just got my antique plates approved for this thing. A lot of folks, when I did my TRD Pro Tundra video, assumed that I sold my 4Runner in exchange for the Tundra TRD Pro. That would never ever happen. This car, as we'll talk about, is like part of me at this point in time. I am coining this, okay, and it's gonna be somewhat titled like one of the best cars in the world. Not biased at all, obviously. I truly believe the third gen 4Runner is one of the best cars in the world. Greenie is a third gen 4Runner from 1999, and it has roughly 192,000 miles on this car. I ended up picking it up originally for $5,000, bone stock SR5 third gen 4Runner. But as you can see, of course, I have done quite a few modifications to the 4Runner. Starting off with the upgrades, I went with Method wheels with the bronze. Now this is the original finish of Imperial Jade Green, which is sick. Overall condition of the external paint on the car is incredible. I do keep this under a carport, so you know it gets a little bit less light and sun than it normally would. I think the bronze Method wheels go so good with the Imperial Jade Green. I got Falcon Wild Peaks. These are kind of like my go-to tires. I don't know shit about cars, you guys know this by now, but kind of like my go-to cool off-roading tires that can get the job done for not a crazy price point. I kept the original chromed out trim of the wheel well. I actually thought that really had a good contrast with all the other kind of more high-speed stuff, if you will, I got going on with this truck at the moment. Not even gonna kinda show you guys underneath the hood, because holy hell, if you saw the wiring and shit I got going on to get this winch and light bars and everything up in there, it's not good. It's not good. So we're gonna bypass the hood at the moment, but I have done almost everything to this car with the help of many great friends and quite a bit of man hour by myself and those friends. So it's just kind of really cool to look at a car that you put a lot of your own time and effort into, you know? And I still very much love my Tundra, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to just putting the time, the effort into a vehicle, you can't really beat a car that you work on. You know, an older car like this that's got the soul to it. I actually originally had a dented up front bumper, and I went with, really for all my bumpers and roof rack, I went with Victory 4x4. Pretty solid stuff. I did not want to have to deal with fabricating anything myself. That's way out of my wheelhouse, so I went with their front bumper, which is, dare I say, drop in. It is semi drop in, but man, it was about 13 hours of work with me and a buddy to get this thing rolling on here. So, you know, it is not easy to put this thing on, and really the biggest issue was just wiring of the winch and all those things, but it has been very reliable for me. I went with the full bull bar. I think it looks pretty damn cool. My main goal for this car, I should mention right up front, is more of like overlanding, if you will. That's such a hipster term nowadays, but also just primarily a camping car. I'm not looking to do like rock crawling with this thing. I would love to give it to my son one day if it lasts that long. So at the end of the day, I'm looking to kind of just use it a little bit of outdoors, a little bit of off-roading. If it can handle an unpaved road from time to time, that would be sweet, but I'm not trying to absolutely destroy it on some rocks, and I'm also not trying to make it a mall crawler either. So like a little bit of both worlds. But the Victory 4x4 bumper looks mean, and it also gets the job done. I do have as well a Victory 4x4 aluminum skid plate that I really wanted to throw on this, but it's just so annoying that you got to plug holes through your frame in order to put that skid plate on in a replacement to the one that I have on there now. So I haven't thrown that on yet. I probably will. I'm not trying to make this a mall crawler, so I don't want to have like a 2-foot lift on here, but I do think like a 3-inch lift would lift it up basically back to factory height. Obviously, with the weight of the front and rear bumper, you can see I'm kind of sagging a little bit in the rear, and you know, I am very close to bottoming out. I mean, like, I got a little bit of room, but in the rear it's sagging a little more, full tank of gas, and man, I'm almost there on a big bump. So I definitely need to get an upgraded suspension here. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, but Bilstein's is what I'm kind of wanting to go with. The rear bumper upgrade, again, Victory 4x4 with both swing arms here. On the left, I got the dual jerry can mount, and on the right, I have my spare tire mount with the license plate holder. Kind of annoyed at the fact that I'm already getting some rusting on the handles on both sides, and then also rusting like in the middle right here, you know, and that's a little annoying. I've sprayed fluid film up in there now just to give it a little bit more protection against that. But like, for the price of all this stuff, you would think the powder coating would do a little bit of a better job. Look, I'm in Pennsylvania. It's still in the rust belt on the East Coast, so it's about what I would expect, but I put this on like less than a year ago. So it's like, man, for that short of a time, I'm already getting some rust. Hopefully that stops with the fluid film, but we'll see. One of my favorite features about 3rd Gen 4Runners is the fact that the whole rear window goes down. And with all 4 of the other windows down, it really does feel like you're just kind of in some sort of a Jeep Wrangler sort of style. The 3rd Gen 4Runners do have a sunroof, but like many others, mine is also broken. And in order to fix that sunroof, you have to essentially take the entire headliner out and the seats and like all this other shit to replace the sunroof, and that obviously that's just not worth it. At the moment it's closed, it's not really leaking, so I'm gonna leave it closed. Finally, before we go inside, I have the Victory 4x4 roof rack with light bar. This roof rack was the most recent install with a very good friend of mine. It has been excellent. I don't really have any complaints about it. It was a little bit tedious to install, but really easy, not bad. And I think it just completely completes the overall package. I did have some Victory 4x4 rock sliders, but again, you gotta drill holes through your frame. And we'll get into this now. Like many other 4Runner owners, I have experienced a rusty frame, and that has been the case here. If you have a 4Runner or any other older Toyota on the East Coast, I got news for you. It's gonna have rust on the frame. Now in this case, I had 2 rust holes. Not great. I know many of you on the West Coast are like, oh my God, I would have thrown it out, piece of shit, worthless. On the East Coast, a few rust holes, okay, is like totally still salvageable. So we're not gonna really look in the frame, but what I did get done is, as you can see down in this area, this entire section, like that bracket, actually is a replacement. So what you can get done if you're a 4Runner owner is something called safety cups. And a company, East Coast company, makes them, and basically it's an entire frame piece that is solid steel, goes up and over it, and you can have somebody cut out the rusted out section and then weld this entire frame piece over. So from here up to about here is an entire safety cup piece. It seems to be holding it well for me. I do spray in fluid film in that area, and then I also am going to get it just sprayed once a year as well. You're never going to stop the rust once it starts, but this for me is hopefully going to mitigate it for a relatively long time. Taking a look at the inside of the car, everything's pretty much bone stock. You got a car from 1990, okay? The seats, unbelievably comfortable. Have no complaints whatsoever about the seats. They are like shockingly comfortable cloth seats, but they are cloth seats. I do have an ABS light on. ABS light has been on since I freaking bought the car, and I've never really cared all that much to get it fixed. But no check engine light as of right now. I have had it pop on once or twice. Small fixes, nothing major. I do have, again, thanks to a friend of mine, like all this stuff everyone has teamed up to help me with, and I am just so appreciative of all this. But I have my switches now for my lights actually mounted into a good spot, and they look freaking mint in this area. I do have one of my truck guns at the moment, this Mini 14 SBR chilling there. This isn't a gun channel, so just kind of bypass that at the moment. And I do have one of these rear seat like organizer things. This is killing me, but I actually can't remember the name of this company, which kind of sucks. But this is all right. I'll be honest with you guys, it ends up being more of a pain in the ass than it's worth, in my opinion. So I keep this on here because it's a great way to have a fire extinguisher, some road flares. I just have like your basic boo-boo kit in here, and usually I keep a tourniquet somewhere on here. The trunk at the moment is a total mess, but you do have a reasonable amount of trunk space in 4Runners. The space inside of a 4Runner is tight. It is very tight. If you have somebody in the driver's seat and somebody in the passenger seat, you're basically almost resting your head on their shoulder, and almost always my head is almost touching the roof. So I'm only 5'10". Having somebody in here over 6 feet is difficult. So just kind of remember that. I see a lot of people with these 4Runners do like camping builds, or they have like mattresses and stuff. Could you do it? Probably, but man, is it tight in here for all that. I would say, if anything, you're gonna be looking at like a rooftop sort of tent situation, or just like have an awning come off the side and camp underneath it, because I think you're gonna have a hell of a time trying to fit that in here. Taking the review into more of a POV, let's go ahead and break out the keys here. Got a little bit of a belt squeal going on just because I gotta replace that. We'll crank her on. Oh yes, nothing beats this car, man. God damn, I love this car. Still rocking the cassette player. We got some Jefferson Airplane today. I'll put that in, but I'll keep the volume down because of copyright reasons. Four-wheel drive still works all right, but my e-brake, man, my e-brake is completely smoked in this car. Probably gonna need to get replaced. I've went with this iPhone mount, and that's actually worked perfectly for me. And let's blast from the past it here. I also have one of these jobbies at the moment, and it actually works out pretty damn well. Driving this 4Runner is excellent. I mean, you can see how tight it is from this point of view, where obviously, you know, like you don't have a ton of room, but again, super comfy to drive. And even though I need new suspension, I really don't feel any sort of like major rough bumps or anything like that. I don't get a lot of wheel shake anymore. I did have to replace a ball joint. I was getting a little bit of wheel shake. That I did not do myself. I just did not want to get all up in there. I do have the wheel kind of pulling to the right, always. I've got it aligned multiple times, new tires, new wheels, everything's new on that area of things, and still, you can see here, like here's a straight, and the wheel is totally to the right. The weird thing is, like, if I let go a little bit, it pulls, but not like crazy. So I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not really too terribly worried about it. I do have WeatherTech mats in this thing, and that would really be what I would recommend to go with. I even got them for the trunk, and they have saved me so many times from some just crappy weather situations. The acceleration of a 3rd gen 4Runner lacking is an understatement. There have been some times where I'm just trying to get on the highway and I feel like I'm gonna get plowed out because it just just the acceleration is not there. You can hit the ECT or whatever the hell it does, and it'll supposedly give you a little bit more power, but needless to say, I have no issues avoiding speeding in this vehicle because it's not like that. It's got a lot of power on the low end, get you out of stuck situations, but it just doesn't have it on the high end. Gas mileage, same deal. It's all right. It's nothing to write home about. Probably between 14, 16 miles to the gallon, maybe a little higher if I'm riding nothing but highway. I think everyone knows 3rd gen 4Runners reliability is 100% always there. Again, fingers crossed in that department, but provided you do routine oil changes, I got 193 actually on it right now, and that is essentially the beginning of a 3rd gen 4Runner's life. I mean, it can really go. I remember my buddy's Tacoma, which was a 3rd gen, ended up going, I think, 360,000 miles with routine oil changes. So you can definitely get it there. And I take this thing around literally less than 5,000 miles a year, even before it was an antique. So being an antique now, again, I'm definitely not taking it over 5,000 a year. Situations like this, like I just passed a biker, I don't know how much that's picking up on camera, but passing somebody, like, that's where the acceleration gets concerning. I gotta pass around, but I mean, you just don't have it. It's like, I mean, it's a little bit rough. So just kind of keep that in mind. This is definitely not a sports car. I do still like having the sunroof just because it's nice to have a window up there. Just get some natural light. And again, super comfy to drive for distance, any sort of distance. The only other thing when we're talking about like how it is sitting in a 4Runner, because it's designed for off-road, really, for the most part, you'll notice my knee is all the way up here by the steering wheel. You really don't have a lot of leg room in the way of going down. So I know this is not necessarily the case when we're looking at other like limited 4Runners and other things like that, but in this case, again, I really noticed that, and that it took me a long time to get used to. Air and heat still cranking in this baby. The heat is always hot, the cold air always cold. I have no issues in that department, and that is so freaking awesome. Overall, guys, that is going to wrap up this review of my 3rd gen 4Runner Greenie that you guys have seen a few times here on the channel. I absolutely love this car. I think maybe I'm like kind of born to be in a car from the 90s. Obviously, being born in the 90s, early 90s, it's just kind of nice. Feels like you're at home in this car. It's just something about it, and I truly love everything about this car. Like, I don't know. There's nothing about it I don't like. I keep my mom's picture up here because, quite frankly, this car is my adventure car, you know, and I dedicate all the little adventures and things that I plan on doing in this car with my son to my mom. And I remember my mom always growing up having Jeeps and other things that she always used as her adventure car. So this is kind of that for me, and I'm really happy to kind of dedicate this build and this car to my mom, and hopefully do some pretty cool adventures in it now that it's finally all set up and ready to go. When I get the suspension done, I'll finally feel confident to actually like take it out and do some off-roading with it. Right now, the suspension's just not there to be doing that. That's like the last thing left that I got to do. So I'll probably update you guys when that is done. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay tuned for more great content coming soon.